Hello, this is a quick little video about how to do some basic um, stacking plans inside of Google Drive and Google Docs. This here is a picture of a quick stacking plan that I made. It's in total 3 blocks. Here's the front view with a goalie, and here's the side view. So this would make it easy for anybody to figure out how to stack it. I've got some notes here about leaving supports, that it's a relief design. The base block here will have holes for forks. Um, so all the information that a particular carver might need to be able to complete this project. And also notice that the quality of the picture is good enough that if I were to, if in fact, not if, but when we print a template for this design, I could just grab this image here, including the blocks and whatnot, and I can easily make a template out of this, and then whoever does this carving doesn't have to worry about drawing, and overall the quality of the carving is going to be better. So this is a sample that I have. I'll be providing links to everything that you see here. And you should be also able to ask Kara for links to this image and this video. So let's start from scratch. So Confed Park, part of this project, they want 12 3-block carvings around the fountain at Confed Park. Basically 4 of these carvings every weekend to basically connect people from between Ottawa City Hall and Spark Street, and kind of get the flow of people going to Spark Street. So that's what this project is about. So there's going to be 12 sculptures to be done in total, 4 delivered every single weekend, and we're going to build them at Bayview and send them over by delivery truck, and basically have the forklift there to lift them off the pallets and put them around the fountain. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to basically do one from scratch so that you guys can see the entire process of how a really easy way to design these stacking plans. So I'm going to do it in Google Docs. If you've got Microsoft Word or even Photoshop or Inkscape, or you're actually know much better software, then by all means use it. But this is kind of an entry level way for anybody to be able to do some simple stacking plans. All right, so first off, let's go to Google. So the next carving I'm going to design, let's do a figure skater. They basically want winter themed images. All right, so you can go ahead and try to draw a figure skater and all that kind of jazz, but we're pressed for time. And there's lots of stuff to design, so let's use the easiest way possible to do a design. All right, so now you kind of have to, so I've got lots of images here. Don't really like any of them because, as you see here, the maximum height that we're going to have is 1 meter in height to do the actual figure carving. So if I were to do like a person like this or like this, it'd kind of be like they're very thin, difficult. It'd be fragile. These have to be shipped from Bayview, so I don't really like any of these images. So let's narrow down our image search. So for those of you who weren't following, sorry, I should have. So I put in figure skater here because I'm looking for a picture of a figure skater. I could click images here. That brings me just to a search of images. Now I could refine my search. Let's look for clip art. And that basically tells them, oh, I don't want to look at photos. I want to look at illustrations or digital pictures. Don't really see, that one's not too bad, but pretty thin. Silhouettes, I advise against silhouettes because it's nice to have the detail of the clothing and stuff like that to be able to use. This one's a little bit too cartoonish. Let's look for a small, oops, let's add a space, small figure skater clip art. All right, that one's not too bad. That one's a little too cartoonish. A little too cartoonish, too cartoonish. I kind of like this image. A little cartoonish, but you know, still kind of cute. And I'm trying to visualize what it would look like in kind of a 1 meter by 1 meter area. It's a little bit, the width is a little bit like, the width is a little small, but we can do stuff to kind of add to this image. So I like this image. Let's save this image. So all I did was right click, save image as, and I'm going to save it into my pictures directory here. And let's just call it Happy Little Girl with Earmuffs Skating. And it's a JPEG. So let's save that to my pictures. All right, so I have that saved. And now let's, so we have our sample clip art that we could base the the stacking plan on. And now I'm going to go to drive.google.com. You probably will have to have a Gmail account for this. But it's free, so pretty handy. All right, so I'm just going to save it in my personal directory for now. I'll probably move it later on to somewhere new. Let's click on new. I don't see Google Draw here. That's the software we're going to use. Google Forms, Google Drawings. So here it is, Google Drawings. So I'm going to create a new Google Drawing. All right. And all right, so I have a blank workspace here. So first thing, let's name this. So this is going to be Figure Skater by Siguru. So I've changed the name. Now let's go to page setup because I want to make it a little bit bigger. So I picked custom here, and let's do something like 45 centimeters by 30. Okay. All right. Now, so we have a blank canvas. Now I guess let's draw some blocks. So let's draw some shapes. That's the circle square here. Shapes. Let's pick a rectangle. And then let's draw the base block. Doesn't have to be perfect because we can edit the size. So let's go to, so I'm going to right click on the square that I just built here, format options, and let's change the size. So the size, now this is just a sketch, so it doesn't like, it doesn't have to be an exact or particular size. So let's go like 20, a width of 20, a height of 5, because this base block is going to be lying down, right? So that's good. Now let's change. So that was the size that we just changed. Let's change the properties of this square. And so I have it selected. See this arrow here? That means I'm in select mode. And then, oh, this is telling me the fill color and the border color. I don't want to have any fill because I want to be able to see through it. Border color, black is fine. I like to make the lines dashes so that I can tell that it's a little bit different than other things. So now it's dashes. like that. And maybe let's make it a little bit thicker so it shows up a little bit better. All right, so there we have it, kind of a block already. So the great thing about drawing stuff digitally is you could copy and paste. So I'm going to have it selected right now, and then you could do it the old-fashioned way. Select here, copy, then edit, paste. And you'd see I have a second one that just got pasted here. I could line it up on top of here, but we're not going to lay two blocks lying flat down together, right? Like it's going to look like the hockey goalie here, where I have a base block and then I have two standing up blocks here. So let's change the properties of this to format options. Oh, it's already here. Let's change the size. So the height that I want is to be 10, like that. All right. Now it made it bigger, so I'm going to raise it, and voila. Now, instead of going to the menu here, doing copy paste like that, you see here you have shortcuts. The controls button and a C at the same time does a copy. So I do a select it by just clicking on it, Control C, Control V. So I just copied it and I pasted it. Oh, it looks like I'm a little bit too high, so another helpful tip, select all. So I've just kind of clicked here, holding it down, put a box around everything, and now I can drag it down just a little bit so that it fits on the page. And voila. All right, so this is going to be the front view, but the front view is not exactly descriptive of exactly how to stack something. So let's do a side view of what the carving is going to look like, so it makes it easy to stack. So I'm going to Control C here, Control V. Now the reason why I'm already selecting stuff and instead of creating new objects with this shape tool is every time I copy, it copies the previous settings. So if you remember, I made the thickness a little thicker. I made it dashed. So that way, every time I copy it, it keeps those settings for the new object that I created. Just makes it easier and saves you time. Another helpful tip is you can move these things using the arrow keys. So you can't see it right now, but I'm using the arrow keys to move stuff around. Makes it a little handy as well. All right, so now we're going to do side view. So the side view of the block laying down is going to be like what, a 10 by 5, right? I could just move that over here. Control, I'm going to copy this object, paste it again. So this one is going to have a height of 10 and a width of 5 to represent a block on its standing up on its side, like that. Control C, Control V, and voila. Now the carver knows exactly what the stacking plan is going to look like. All right. So now that we have our stacking, our blocks kind of laid out, let's go find that image that we found on Google. So we'll do an insert. Actually, even before that, let's use another free tool. Most people have Paint or some sort of easy software to edit your images. So I'm just going to show you this because my pictures. Oh, here's that picture that I downloaded. All right. So here we go. Here's the image. Let's look at the entire thing. Now the reason why I'm showing you this is sometimes there's like stuff that you might want to delete. Like this one is actually pretty good. You don't have to delete anything, but sometimes there's lettering or somebody's copyright or some text that might make it confusing for whoever's executing your stacking plan. they might find it confusing if there's like some wording here, wording there. They might misunderstand it and do something to your design. So good to clean up anything you don't want to have. So here I'm just using the erase tool and I'm erasing a little bit of this watermark. But I don't really. This image is pretty good. It's pretty clean. I don't think I really need to clean up clean up any of the watermarks really, because like we'll print it and most would just whoever applies the template and carves it out just has to make sure to ignore this this watermark stuff. But if it's really annoying, then you should try to clean it up a little bit. So all right, so that image looks pretty good. It's big. It's a rather big image. So I'm just going to kind of, so I'm going to select just the image, right? I'm going to do a cut, right? So the image is gone. I'm going to open up a new one. Don't save my changes. And now I could just do a paste. And now I just have my cropped image. So that's much easier to work with than the other image. So let's do a file, save, and it's my pictures directory, and it's little girl skater cropped PNG. We'll save that. All right. So we could exit out of this, and let's go find that picture. So we'll do an insert here, image, upload from computer. And so here's the original, here's my cropped one. Let's open. All right, so here it is. Oh, now notice, it's being overlaid on top of the blocks. Now that's not good because that's going to kind of hide the blocks that you have laid out here, and that's not going to be helpful. So we have this handy arrange, and all we do is we send this picture here back, because basically the picture is a bunch of layers, and because we added no fill for our blocks here, only the lines will overlay on top of the image. So let's send this backwards. Send backwards. So there's multiple layers. So this image we probably want to send to the very back. So I was sending it back with one layer at a time with this option, but this will send it all the way to the back. And voila, you see that now the now the dotted lines are on top of the image. So we'll be able to see the stacking plan. That's really important if you have like multiple weird stacking plans, a little block here, block cut here, and you have it stacked in a weird way. You always want to be able to see your stacking plan and and it also makes it easier to apply the template when the time comes. All right, so let's resize it to be a little bit bigger. All right, that's pretty big. All right. Now, just a word of note. One thing that I did find annoying about Google Drawing is, so I have the picture of the girl selected right now, right? So I'm gonna just click outside and then try to select her again. And notice I can't select that image. So say I wanted to resize this little girl here. I really can't right now, and that's kind of annoying. And it's just selecting the block. So when you get into a scenario like this, you kind of have to just move the block away. And then now I'm able to select the little girl. I can move this block back, and just remember to kind of do all my sizing while I have this picture selected. So it's still selected after I moved it. So say I wanted to like rotate it. Oh, now she's rotated. I don't really want to have it rotated though, but there's different manipulations that you could do. Maybe she should be a little smaller. No, I think I want her to be a little bit bigger, if not too big. maybe let's leave a little bit of buffer. Oop, I didn't want to do that. I just handy shortcut Control Z undoes your recent change. So Control Z undoes, Control C, Control X cuts, Control C copies, Control V pastes. Those are the most important shortcuts that every person who uses a computer should learn. All right, so I think that's a good size. Now just kind of notice that, there's all this space here, and it would be kind of a waste of ice to, have her just like this. And since this particular carving is going to be delivered from Bayview to Confed Park, and PCA Chartage is going to handle it all themselves, I kind of don't want, I want to make it as easy as possible. So we have to make this nice and sturdy. So in that case, let's add some, maybe a circle. These carvings are going to be relief. So let's draw a circle like that. And it covered her up, but that's because I have fill here turned on, so let's make it transparent. And so now, and now we kind of are able to use all the ice, although I think that I don't, like we want a little bit of negative space. So let's make it, let's make a smaller circle. Even smaller. Okay, I'm gonna just redo that. So I just deleted that because I wanted to show you guys something different. Control C to copy, Control V to paste. So I copied another circle. I moved it back onto the original circle with the arrows. If you hold Shift down, and now I'm going to resize it using this corner here. Now it maintains the aspect, the height and width aspect, which is really handy for circles because you want your smaller circle to be a perfect circle as well. Okay, that seems a little bit better, but let's make it even smaller. We want as much stuff to be touching, like her hands. We want it to be supported. Well placed. Kind of like that. It'd be nice if we could put the circle in the background, but because there's a white background to this picture, we can't put the circle in behind because you know how I was saying before that there's layers. There is fancy tools to remove the whiteness here and add make it see-through, but that's probably a little bit too advanced for this particular tutorial. But I think something like this is probably enough. We'll just leave some notes for the actual person who does this to ensure that they ignore these inner circle lines. And this space here, this space here, this space here, and this space here, they could probably cut out. And then then the girl could be carved in relief, and then the circle here will be a little bit, will be kind of reliefed back a little bit to make sure that the girl kind of stands out a little bit, maybe maybe 1/3 of the block so probably 8 centimeters or so. We could push this circle back, and then so the girl is kind of forward, and then the girl could be carved in relief, and then we add a little bit of negative space here, and then it'll look really good. So these are relief type carvings, so we don't have to worry about 3D. We don't do the backs. We barely even do the sides. We round the sides. That's about it. Really, what's most important for these particular carvings is the silhouette that is going to be presented from this carving. All right, so we need to do a couple more things here. We can't just leave the plan like this. Otherwise, the circle needs some support. So let's add those. So handy has the dots. So I selected the line tool, clicked where I wanted part of it to start, but then it kind of just placed a line here. So let's move this other line to about here. Control C, Control V. Move this over around whereabouts here-ish. Let's move it. So I moved it with my arrows. Now I have to turn it the other direction. And then now I could just use my eyes to, that doesn't look exact. I think that's a little bit better. All right, so now we have kind of a nice quality design here that, we wouldn't, when we built the template, we wouldn't, include the base, but from here to this square here is, perfect for a template and easy to get printed, and somebody just sticks it to the ice and carves it out. Saves us a lot of time. All right, so I think this looks pretty good. I don't think we really need to add any more changes. She looks well supported. We will want to leave these carvings all pretty thick, and relief carved. It's a little cartoony, but it's kind of a cute cartoony. I don't know. Just enough detail to make it nice. We could probably even make the face here, whoever does the carving, to be a little bit more realistic, but that'll be up to the carver. All right, so I think that's good, but we're not done yet. We still have, we have to make sure that whoever gets this design knows exactly what to do to finish the carving. So if we go back to our hockey goalie example here, notice that I have some notes here. So these are holes for the forklift forks to fit into. So that's important because, like, if they put down the base and stack stuff on top, it's going to be nearly impossible to cut these out. So whoever does the design has to cut these out of the base block first. So let's make sure that that happens. So let's go back to our figure skater drawer. Shape. Let's pick a square. Now these aren't exact. Control. I don't really care about the fill or anything. So I'm going to Control C, copy, Control V, paste, and paste it here. And notice this red line. What this red line is telling me is it smart enough to know that that it should be equal distance? Is it? I don't know. Is that equal distance? There we go. No, that's not equal distance. So the actual distance here, that'll have to be when whoever cuts these out will have to figure that out. Because like I don't know, and I'm although I do believe the forks on a forklift are adjustable. So, but let's all right. So we need to leave some information for whoever is going to do the carving. Oh, and so let's add. This is a text box we can add. So let's draw a box for text, and let's leave them a note that these Holes for the forklift forks. 2 holes for the forklift forks. That text looks a little small, so I'm going to, so I selected it all. Let's erase, oh, it's a big document. Maybe should have made the document a little smaller, but all right. So I left a note here, but let's make it as clear as possible. So there's an arrow tool here. So let's draw it from here to here. That's kind of a small arrow. So let's select. Let's go into select mode. Like right now, I'm in arrow drawing mode, but let's escape that. So you can hit the escape button, and then that puts you into select mode. And then we can make the line a little thicker, like that. All right, that's good. So I'm going to Control C, Control V, copy, paste. And let's draw an arrow to this one too. So now there's no mystery as to what these holes are. Let's also let's copy this text box here, Control C, Control V. So we want to put some more notes over here. And let's let the carver know, cut out all the way. And you could go and pick another arrow, but it's not going to have the thickness changes that we set before. So I like to always copy and paste. Control, let's move this there. Okay, let's draw arrows to make it all clear. So this spot here is also negative space. Control C, Control V. Spot here. And in fact, don't want to have arrow lines going across her face and stuff like that, because that would just make it more difficult. So let's copy this note. It's as easy as copy and pasting. And then we have this arrow. Let's have it come from here to there. Control C, Control V. Let's move this part here. Move this part here. Let's get it out of the way of the mitten so that you don't ruin the template. But now it says cut. Now the carver knows what to do. Cut it all away, and as the designer, let's also let's make it as easy as possible for the carver. So we talked about this circle here only being cut maybe being cut cut back circle 1/3 of the way, and then then they can leave the girl all the way to the front and then round it out, and it would still look pretty good. Is there any other notes that we need to leave? Not really. Like when it's pretty apparent. Pretty apparent what to cut out. So we're saying this is negative space, this is negative space, this is negative space. All right, so that's pretty apparent. Let's another handy thing you can do to leave notes is you can add text to these boxes here. So I just right-clicked on this box, edit text, and I could say this is a base block, just to block, just to make it clear. Let's make the font a little bit bigger. parent, Control C, Control V, pasted the text. That way it's clear that this base block is that base block, this block on top of this block, this top block on top of this block. They have the circle that they'll want to cut out. And I think that's pretty much it. So that didn't take very long at all. But let's add a little bit more information, So this is always good. Let's label stuff. So this is a figure theater by Stigaroo, and this is like the Confed Park carvings. Is that what I wrote on this one? I wrote Confed Park. All right, I just wrote Confed Park. So that's kind of the project that it belongs to. This is like 2 of 12. So the hockey one is number 1. And then there should have been kind of additional information about this particular project that was attached to this to whatever project request. So it's always good to include that stuff in here. So I'm going to Control C this, Control C, Control V, paste another text box down here, make it bigger. And I'm just going to copy and paste this information here. So this is the information that should have been provided to you for whatever design you're doing. And copy, paste. It's a little small, so let's make this bigger. 18. All right. Make the box a little bit bigger. So let's just review the notes. So it's not 3D. Make easy wall relief designs. 3 blocks, including 1 for base. Max size 1.25. Width 1 meters. We did that. Base should have holes for forklifts. We got that. Will be delivered from Bayview, so make it thick and sturdy. This is good information for the carver because, when the carver gets the plan, they're going to get this entire page here. That'll be helpful for them. And then will be delivered to Confed Park on the fountain. All right, so that looks pretty good. Oh, I'm just going to raise this text box so it's in line with the arrow. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty easy. I think that took me less than half an hour. Of course, I'm familiar with all this kind of stuff and shortcuts and whatnot, so I could do it faster. But really, this is a really easy way to do carvings. Actually, let's just leave a note to. So. Egg note, ignore inner circle line on the base, just so if it's not intuitive to whatever carver. And that's pretty much it. So all the information is now provided on top of this on the stacking plan, and we could just hand it to somebody and they can pretty much get the carving done quickly and use a template derived from this stacking plan to do it. All right, so last step, you guys don't necessarily have to do this, but or you might not be able to, but you'll probably want to share this document. So if you're using Google Draw, then you can probably put in either my name. Actually, it'd probably be better to put in Kara's email, so kicksclub@gmail.com. And if you share it with her and just leave a note, here is the design doc. Here's the stacking plan for the figure skater confed park project, and then send it to her. Although I won't actually send it to her because I have, and then I won't actually send it to her because I could store it in the proper place as required. You guys, if you haven't done this yourselves, you can link the shared Kix drive to your own Google Drive, and that means I can store stuff right into the place that it needs to go. So confed park, 2-block carvings, and here's the hockey goalie stuff. So let's move it here. Moving this item, we'll share it with other people. Of course, want to share it with all the members. Click OK, and voila, done. The stacking plan is good to go. So hopefully this was really helpful. Use this as a guide to make simple stacking plans. This is really the fastest way, because like drawing this girl would have taken myself about an hour to get it to this kind of quality. So it's just easier to borrow stuff from Google and use it. So voila, all done. Hopefully that was helpful, and good luck with your carvings or stacking plans. Bye, guys.